Welcome to the Mukilteo Football Show. My name is Miles. Monday Night Football. My hometown Seahawks defeat our decade-long franchise quarterback Russell Wilson in Seattle. Man, the crowd let him have it. There was no Ken Griffey Jr. or Gary Payton warm Seattle welcome for Russell Wilson. Woo! We let him have it all game long. And it was a good game. The Seahawks win 17-16 with an ending that we are going to talk about. Nathaniel Hackett's like, nobody's talking about me enough, so I've got to make the dumbest decision of the week. Maybe we should start there. What the heck happened at the end of this game for the Broncos? Russell Wilson with a chance to drive in the suddenly hostile Seattle environment. The crowd is screaming at him. He's making a few plays. The Seahawks defense makes a few plays. We get a 3rd and 14 with about a minute left. He swing past Javonte Williams. Then the Broncos let the clock run for 39 seconds, call a timeout with 20 seconds on 4th and 5, and attempt a 64-yard field goal for the game. And it misses because the record was like 63-yard field goal like for most of my life. What? You took the ball out of Russell Wilson's hand, who you paid all this stuff for, all this capital. You got him sending this huge extension saying 4th and 5, not you, man. Send in the kicker for a 64-yard field goal instead. Nathaniel Hackett, man. Oh, and it's even the same like area of the field, the same direction of the 2013 NFC title game when Pete let Russell Wilson go for it on 4th and 7. And he threw that touchdown to Javon Curse in the NFC title game against the 49ers. Same like area of the field. I wonder if that's going through Russell Wilson's mind. Why didn't I get a shot? I can't even begin to believe it. I just started recording this podcast. I just watched it moments ago. I am in absolute shock at that. I thought I was going to be talking mostly about the Seattle crowd's reception of Russell Wilson and Russell being back. What a game. Wow. The Seahawks 1-0, the Broncos 0-1. I'm sure the Broncos will have a better season than the Seattle Seahawks, but this was fun. This was fun for us Seahawks fans. It must have been fun for just to be screaming at Russell Wilson. I've been there. I've been there in the crowd many times, screaming at Brady, screaming at Bronco Payton and Colt Payton, screamed at Big Ben, screamed at Rivers, screamed at Rodgers, screamed at Andrew Luck, screamed at Cam Newton. Keep going back to the Kingdom, screaming at Smellway, Smellway. Got to scream at Jim Kelly. Got to scream at Steve Young, preseason Steve Young scream at the Kingdom. All those were outside enemies invading. This one, Russell, he was our guy though. It just had a different tone, if that makes sense. There's just a different emotion to it. This was our quarterback, 10 years, so many great statistics, so many great moments. And he's back here in his prime against us. What a situation. What a great Monday Night Football. Fabulous. Of course, would I be here saying that if the Seahawks lost? I don't know. But as it stands, the first half was great. Russell Wilson, got going. First, he came out kind of targeting all the tight ends in the flat. It looked very similar to the Seahawks offense. Then he started going deep to Sutton. He started getting a lot of time to Sutton, Jerry Jeudy, a couple of underthrown balls. The Broncos, they got some work to do. But the reason I picked the Seahawks to win this game, by the way, called it on the Thursday show and the Sunday show, saying the Seahawks would win this game. Don't get too used to me getting predictions right, though I was 4 for 4 this week. The reason I said that is because Russell's a new quarterback, Hackett's a new coach, and they're going into this environment. That's not success. That's not a mess. That's not a situation for success, in my opinion. They still almost won. I mean, they still needed to fumble twice at the 1 yard line. One for each running back. That's nice. Melvin Gordon, Javonte Williams both fumbled at the 1. They look good otherwise, though. And then they had 10 plays inside the 10 with no touchdown. So the Broncos had trouble. They had trouble that I have to assume they will work through. The Seahawks, meanwhile, Geno Smith's first half was great. Started 17 for 18 with 2 touchdowns. As far as I know, he didn't play the second half. I mean, he was absolutely gone. But and it was the other little side note. It was nice to have competence in the announcer booth for Monday Night Football, because you've had these ESPN guys, Joe Tessitore, Brian Griese, just regurgitating like canned things that they had written down before. They absolutely sucked. Buck and Aikman, who I've come to like a lot more as I've gotten older. Joe Buck's dark humor. Check some podcasts. The Bill Simmons interview with Joe Buck is fabulous. If you go back and listen to that, really you kind of get his humor and get his like dry personality. And I've liked Aikman the more that I've gotten older. He's just like new network, new Troy. And then Troy Aikman had this one analytics, if you're into that stuff. And Aikman called the story of the game for Geno. He said Geno was keeping his eyes downfield while moving up in the pocket. That's how they got the touchdown to Disley. That's how they got a couple big plays. Then in the second half, Geno stopped stepping up, and the rookie cross tackle got beaten by Bradley Chubb a couple times, and it started causing problems. Troy Aikman identified that story of that game happening in front of us, and that's something that good announcer crews do and something I really love. All right, welcome to the Mukilteo Football Show. My name is Miles. This show is just football, everything, history, legacy, ups and downs of a season. Follow us at MUK_football on Twitter or YouTube. Subscribe, share, review on Apple, Spotify, Anchor, wherever you get your podcasts. We have shows Monday after Monday Night Football, Thursday after Thursday Night Football, and Sunday after Sunday Night Football. And the show after Monday Night Football is always about winners and losers for the week. Week 1 is in the books. It's tough to not overreact. Thankfully, last year's Week 1 kind of illustrates it clearly to us that Week 1 means nothing. I mean, because you can go back and look at Week 1. The Bills lost. The Titans lost. The Packers lost. Both number 1 seeds and eventual Super Bowl favorites lost in Week 1. You can just go look at that on Pro Football Reference. And remember, Week 1 doesn't matter at all. That's why I say the Broncos, they'll have a better season than the Seahawks, sure. But this was fun. So winners and losers for Week 1. Trying not to overreact, but it's what we do. It's what we do. Winners, the new coaches, new head coaches coming in here, taking risks. And it's hilarious to me that Broncos coach Nathaniel Hackett will not be joining this group of new coach winners taking risks, because he surrendered a 4th and 5 opportunity with Russell Wilson in favor of a 64-yard field goal. The winners are Dolphins coach Mike McDaniel, Giants coach Brian Daboll, Vikings coach Kevin O'Connell, just in their first game coming up huge, shouldering a decision and it paying off. Brian Daboll, of course, for the Giants, the 2-point conversion against the Titans. What a gutsy call that, honestly, analytics does not say to go for that 2-point conversion. Analytics doesn't just mean go for it all the time, because there's still a minute left. The Titans, remember, still had to miss the kick. But combined with Joe Judge's cowardice in 2021, Brian Daboll's decision to go for 2 and eventual victory will be hot copy on the late summer streets of New York City. Then Mike McDaniel for the Dolphins, playing against Belichick in Miami. There's a 4th and 7. 4th and 7 near the end of the half. There's about 24 seconds left in the first half from their own, from the Patriots 43. Punting the ball means nothing at this point, and the risk of meaning it only gives a minimal opportunity for Mac Jones to get 20 more, 30 more yards in 24 seconds. So they just went for it. 4th and 7. Again, I don't know the analytics unanimously tells you to go for that. Remember, analytics are just numbers. They still have to be interpreted into football field actions by human meatbags. It's just numbers. You have what to do with the numbers is variable. I don't know that most people would look at that and say, yeah, you need to go for that 4th and 7, but they did. There's other factors, of course. Maybe they saw some personnel package, or maybe they just knew they had this play waiting because they hit the slant to Jalen Waddle, who just torches through the Patriots secondary, gets that touchdown that ended up carrying the momentum for the Patriots to be blown out by the Dolphins. And then finally, Kevin O'Connell, Vikings coach. You might, it's earlier in the game, so you don't remember it. 4th and 1, I think the first drive against the Packers in Minnesota, and they go for it instead of kicking the field goal. And it ends up being a touchdown to Justin Jefferson. Again, I think a play they kind of knew, we got this play. But yeah, you kick the field goal against the back-to-back MVP Aaron Rodgers? No. Get the touchdown. Get the touchdown. It set a tone. I love that. All these new coaches with big wins in their cities. I think that's really good. And like I said, unlike Mike McCarthy, they took the risk onto their own heads. To get the glory, they would have to take the risk of what those failures would have done. Dable could have kicked the extra point, and Giants lose in overtime. Nobody's blaming Brian Dable specifically. Nobody's going back to McDaniel and saying, God, remember that 4th and 7 at the end of the first half? If only he would have thrown a slant to Jalen Waddle there. Nobody's going to do that. Boomer Esiason and Phil Simms, like I said, Rex Ryan's like, heck yeah, punt that ball. The reason they feel that way is because they're trying to take the risk off of themselves. Instead of letting the opportunity moment pass by anonymously, Dable, McDaniel, and O'Connell, they went for it. And this time it worked. It won't work sometimes, but sometimes it will. It's fun football. I like it. The other winner, big name wide receivers, changing teams. Tyreek Hill on Miami, 8 for 94 on 12 targets. Devontae Adams for the Raiders, 17 targets, 141 yards, touchdown. He was all over the field. I love how Adams was used just like he was in Green Bay, everywhere, because he's amazing. And then the Eagles, A.J. Brown, worth every dollar with that just power and yak. And just, I mean, he's got the number 11. He's got the visor. He looked like late 2010s Julio Jones, man. Philadelphia is in love. And Titans fans are crying into their A.J. Brown embroidered pillows with late Nashville lace on them. And Packers fans are crying into their Devontae Adams engraved cheese. Chiefs fans are okay with losing Tyreek Hill. They don't care. They threw 5 touchdowns. All right, losers. Losers of week 1. Remember, we'll be back Thursday to preview week 2 and review Thursday Night Football. Losers, the Bengals and the Steelers. What a game. But I think they're both losers from this week 1. The Bengals because Joe Burrow was rusty. Maybe the appendix was the secret to his success at LSU and last year in the Super Bowl run with the Cincinnati. Just saying, can't rule it out. I know I said not to overreact to week 1, but clearly the appendix was the sole source of Joe Burrow's power. No, I mean, they still played good. 4 interceptions, a strip sack. I mean, Steelers safety, Minkah Fitzpatrick, just fabulous play for the Steelers. TJ Watt was amazing before he went out. And the Bengals turnovers, I mean, it kept them down. They should have won this game handily. And their red zone inefficiency wasn't new. So turnovers plus their red zone inefficiency. I remember I talked about this all playoffs. When Joe Burrow gets the red zone, they don't score touchdowns. In the 2021 playoffs, the playoffs that Joe Burrow won 3 football games and 1 Super Bowl loss, they got 4 touchdowns in 14 trips to the red zone. That just continued. This is on Zach Taylor too, not just Joe Burrow. But I'm just saying, that just continued, and it's worrisome for the Bengals. We'll see. They get Dallas next week. I'm sure they'll be fine. But the Steelers, though they won the game, I think they also lost. I mean, they needed everything. Blocked extra point, Deontay Johnson's circus catch on the side. Good throw by Trubisky. They needed Bengals to miss another field goal in overtime. Even though they were, minus or plus 5 on the turnover ratio. I mean, that's a tough win, as tough as it can get. And it's even, salt is poured on that even more because they lost TJ Watt, likely out for the season with a torn pec. Najee Harris re-aggravating what I think is a Liz Frank injury. I've seen high ankle. I mean, he's going to be out a while, and he's just not going to put up. When he does come back, he's going to be toughing out a very difficult injury to be an elite running back with. So it cost Watt and Harris. It's Steelers to take the victory, but it's bad. It's bad for the Steelers. And the other losers are Baker Mayfield and Joe Flacco. in their bids for revenge against their old teams. Now, I will say, Joe Flacco, revenge for what? What does Joe Flacco want revenge on the Ravens for? I mean, the Ravens stood by him, paying him top 5 quarterback money while he delivered bottom 15 quarterback performances for 6 seasons from 2013 to 2018 after the 2012 Super Bowl. I don't think Joe Flacco's got anything mad, I know he doesn't say anything, but not really a revenge. Ravens destroyed the Jets anyway, as expected. The more complicated revenge bid is Baker Mayfield. On the Panthers now, playing the Browns. He played pretty terribly, especially for the first half. He's running for his life from Myles Garrett. Just surreal to see the Browns' 2017 first overall pick chasing around their 2018 first overall pick and sacking him. Just weird. And Baker finally got things going in the second half. There's a rushing TD where Baker was celebrating like a madman before he lectured reporters later about overreacting to the game. It's just week 1. Got a bomb to Robbie Anderson. And you can argue that Baker Mayfield really deserved that comeback win because the Browns' subsequent drive after the Panthers went up, there was a cheap roughing the passer call. They missed a fake spike penalty on Jacoby Brissett, and then who thought that the rookie Browns kicker, Cade York, was going to nail a 58-yard field goal to win the game? Nobody. So I think you can reasonably say Baker played poorly enough to lose the game. He deserved to lose, but his comeback was also legitimate, and it just so happened to not go his way. So we're kind of waffling whether that was really revenge or not. Baker Mayfield, man, you've lost me. You've lost me as a fan. Just the tone of his press conferences, just, he got to grow up, man. I mean, he's condescending to the reporters, saying everybody making a big deal that the Super Bowl, this is week 1. The Super Bowl's in February, not September, and it's September, not February. Like, yikes. You don't want to work with that guy, man. We don't staple those papers, Margaret. We paperclip them. These are not staples. These are paper clips. Do you know that? Do you know that, Margaret? Like, yes, we know it's not February, Baker. All right. Mukilteo Football Show. Follow us on Twitter at MUK_football. Subscribe on YouTube, Spotify, Anchor, Apple, wherever you get podcasts. We'll be back Thursday. Football!